guided exploration, I wanted to explore with you the question of, is it true that oneness is lost in the presence of physical discomfort? This is something that comes up often, especially in early post-awakening, where maybe we're used to having a clearer, maybe more visceral experience of the recognition of what we are, recognition of true nature. And then when there are difficult sensations, maybe pain or uncomfortable thoughts, distressing thoughts, something arises in our experience, in experiencing that it's almost like a trigger. It makes us believe that something is wrong. We fall back into relating to experience as a self that's experiencing life, a self that life is happening to and for. So, in this guided exploration, I wanted to look closer at if the presence of discomfort is actually demonstrating that oneness is lost. And so, to start off, I invite you to just get comfortable in whatever seat and position you're in. Take a few deep breaths. Just to relax the body and settle into the spaciousness that you are. So just bring attention to this felt sense of aliveness, felt sense of breath. Wherever it feels most noticeable for you. And like any practice within the living method, it's important that we start from the recognition that what's engaging in a practice, so to speak, what's noticing breath, what's noticing the sense of being, what's relaxing into and as the spaciousness that it is, has to be oneness, has to be this sense of being. Even if it feels or is assumed that it's a self tuning into the breath, a self noticing the sense of being. It has to be acknowledged that even if it seems that way, that it can't actually be true. There is one thing going on. There is only oneness. There is not enough room for there to be oneness plus a self that notices oneness or tries to remember oneness. So, no matter how loud thought might be, to whatever degree that's accessible for us right now, let's just start by noticing alertly that it must be oneness that is noticing itself right now. It's oneness that's hearing these words. It's oneness that's experiencing sensation. It's oneness that's breathing. Really, it's oneness that's appearing as breath, that's appearing as sound, it's appearing as temperature and texture. So, from the starting point of I have to be oneness, whatever that is, can't be a bow, can't be a self. With that recognition, notice sensation in what we're calling conventionally the body. Bring attention to a texture that might feel uncomfortable. As oneness, notice the texture of yourself that's appearing as what we're calling a contraction or discomfort, clamminess, density, whatever it is. Maybe a headache, maybe pain. And so just gently place your precious divine attention upon the sensation. whatever it is. Just explore it without thinking about it. In exploring, we can start with more intellectual understanding. Given that there's only oneness, is it true that this sensation can be other than oneness? Just ask the question to yourself and notice where the openness of the question leads you to. What does it reveal? Given that there's only oneness, it must be oneness that's asking the question. Is it really true that this sensation is other than oneness? Now, quite likely that there's thought that comes up that says, well, I don't like this. I don't like this sensation. Or, yeah, okay, I get that this is oneness, but I still want this to change. Thoughts of resistance will come up in asking inquiry questions, and that's okay. So if that happens, just notice the thoughts arising. There's thinking. And pour attention deeper into the sensation itself. Doesn't need to be effortful or anything, just leaning into it as attention. Is it really true that there's a boundary to this sensation? There might be density, there might be variation in sensation. But does that variation mean that there's a boundary? Is that true? Just ask the question, is it really true that there's a boundary to this sensation? I'll just say for myself, I can't find a boundary here. If I zoom out, dilate attention out, taking in the spaciousness of this dark field of vibrancy, I can't find a boundary, can't find a place where it ends. If I reference thought, I could imagine a boundary, but that wouldn't make the boundary actually there. That wouldn't actually make it my experience. It's my experience that there isn't a boundary to this spacious field that all these textures are appearing within and as. If I bring attention back to the difficult sensation, whatever we were exploring earlier, I can't find a boundary to the sensation itself either. I can't really find an edge to the sensation. Really, without referencing thought, I can't even find a location to it. It's almost as if it has a dimensionless quality. If I reference thinking, if I reference mental imagery of the body, which is always based on being the body that's being imagined, then I could imagine that I can locate the sensation as being somewhere. But in truth, I can't. It's not my experience that the sensation has a location. I say that there's sensationing, but it doesn't have a specific place that it starts and ends in the experience of it. So if I can't find a boundary to the sensation, I can't find a center to the sensation. I would have to imagine points of reference of this is the center and that's the boundary. The boundary and center are relative to each other. But in the absence of a center and in the absence of a boundary, there isn't one. And so the absence of a boundary, another word for that is infinite. Infinity is the absence of boundary. It's not a lot of space, the absence space. And infinity is one of the qualities of oneness. Those of you that have had awakening sessions would know that that's one of the things that we explore and uncover. So, this sensation that seemed like it was evidence of oneness being lost, of clarity being obscured, of true nature being hidden. See the idea that that was the case is based on an assumption. As we're looking closer, we're seeing that the sensation itself is exemplifying these qualities of oneness. There is only oneness. So it makes sense that we would find qualities of oneness in the sensation, even if it's uncomfortable. Is it really true that we can find someone that this sensation is in reference to? Can we find an owner of this sensation? Since there's only oneness, can there be something outside of oneness to own an appearance of oneness? That makes no sense. This has to be oneness appearing this way. Is it really true that oneness needs this appearance to change? No. It would seem that given this appearance is here, that what we are, oneness, this field of aliveness, this alive, alert, aware spaciousness has already welcomed this appearance of itself. You've already welcomed this arising, this expression of yourself. If it feels like you need this to change, my suggestion is that you are believing thought. You are believing that you are someone that the sensation is appearing to or happening to. You believe that you are someone the sensation is inconveniencing. But look, can we actually find that one? I can't. This, whatever is speaking, whatever is appearing as words, whatever is appearing as this verbing of life, this experiencing, I can't find an owner of this experience. And I don't know what can't find the owner. There's just not finding. So, in the absence of the one that this is appearing to, there's no problem for this to be as it is already. In truth, you already knew that. And that's why you welcomed it in. That's why you lovingly invited this experiencing to be explored. All we're doing here is remembering what's already been the case. So, if it ever feels again like the presence of discomfort is evidence that I've lost clarity or I've forgotten true nature, I'm no longer experiencing my inherent wholeness, completeness, and indivisibility. Let this exploration serve as an encouragement of looking closer at what the experience is actually demonstrating. Is it true that what this is, no matter what it is something other than oneness? Is it really true that the qualities of oneness can't be found? Is it really true that we can find a self that's experiencing oneness? True that we can find one that this experiencing is inconveniencing or is resisting the experience. Just looking and exploring in this way. Slowly come back into the space.